How's it going, everybody? This is RBT coming at you with my college ball week 14 recap video. Man, it's like 2 in the morning, and this is like the latest I've stayed up since like the summer, so kind of exhausted, but I want to stay loyal, and I didn't do my NFL recap last week, so I'm going to go ahead and do my college football recap this week so I don't get off my schedule too much, because this is the last weekly recap video, so I can't miss my last one, so I got to do this one. And there's not that many games, so it shouldn't be that long because there's not many games this week. Starting off with the Louisville game, Louisville won 2017 and earned a share of the Big East title, which doesn't make sense because they were 5-2, just like Rutgers and Cincinnati was. But I think it's like the deal. Whatever team gets ranked highest in the Big East, which will be Louisville, they'll go to the Orange Bowl. So anyways, they were 10-2 in the year. Great team. Teddy Bridgewater played a Brian Leftwich type of performance. He was amazing. Made some of the most amazing throws I've ever seen in my life under the worst circumstances. Fractured left wrist. Can barely catch the ball out of the snap. Out of the shotgun. Couldn't even play under center because he just couldn't. Really bad. Hurt ankle. It limp around and it was really cold weather in New Jersey. He's from Louisville, so he's not really accustomed to such cold weather like up north, but I mean, great game. He ended up with about 200-something passing yards. Comeback victory. They were down all game. They come back in the third, fourth quarter. I think they were down by 2 touchdowns, and in like 15 seconds, like that, they come back and tie the game. End up winning late in the fourth quarter, won 20-17. So congratulations to Louisville. They're a really good team, really young team. So their team, I mean, they could be a surprise next year. I mean, I think with the talent they have coming back, they should zoom to that Big East schedule. I'm not sure who they have scheduled for non-conference, but I mean, if they don't have any big boys such as Alabama, or I know they don't have Alabama, but like I don't know, say Georgia, USC, somebody like that. I know they don't. I'm just using an example. They should coast pretty easily through that Big East schedule and probably go undefeated because they're just really talented. And to be that talented right now and be that young, it's scary. And Louisville's a dang good football team. Will be probably going to either the Sugar Bowl or Orange Bowl. Moving on, Friday night. So sad, but Kent State loses to Northern Illinois 44-37. Not sure if Northern Illinois is going to get a BCS bid. If Kent State would have won this game, I'm probably say about 95% sure that Kent State would be making a BCS bowl game. But because UCLA lost, which means that team would have jumped UCLA to number 16, and they get an automatic bid. If the highest ranked non-AQ team is ranked 16 or higher, and they win their conference, and there is a conference champion, hence the Big East, that is not top 16 in the country, they get an automatic bid. So if Northern Illinois somehow magically jump up to 16, which could happen, they could probably jump Boise State with the win over number 17. Nebraska's probably going to fall really low because they put up 70 points, or they gave up 70 points to Wisconsin. So they probably drop past them. Texas lost. That's 3 spots, so I don't know if they'll be able to make up the other 2 spots, but we'll see. I mean, they're on the outside looking right now if you're Illinois, Northern Illinois. But if Kent State would have won, like I said, they would have be going to a BCS bowl. I'm not sure about Northern Illinois, but Jordan Lynch, great game as expected. One of the most underrated players in the country. Probably the best player that you haven't heard of if you're just a casual fan. He's explosive. He can run the ball like anybody else in the country. He's like 4th in total rushing yards this year as a quarterback, which is insane. He's efficient running the ball too. Northern Illinois controlled the ball, but too late. A late turnover on a fumble exchange. I mean, on a handoff. He fumbled it and brought it back for a touchdown. So I think this is another ordeal. And like in 10 seconds, they tied the game in 2 touchdowns and going to overtime. And late interception by Spencer Keith. Thrown by Spencer Keith gives Northern Illinois the victory in overtime. So Northern Illinois wins 44-37, improved to 12-1 on the year. Kent State ended up 11-2 going into the bowl game. And Northern Illinois, their only loss in the season was against Iowa by 1 point. So if they could have won that game, they'd be definitely ranked up there. But Stanford survives against UCLA 27-24. Extremely surprising, especially considering that last week they absolutely blew out UCLA at UCLA. And with this being the Pac-12 championship at home, thought Stanford was going to cruise in this game, but it took a late miss at a field goal for UCLA to get this one to Stanford. Kevin Hogan played a pretty good game. A late play by a tight end gave them field position for a field goal, and they converted, and they won by 3 points. That's all that matters. And Stanford's going to the Rose Bowl. Too sad for UCLA. They came this close, but props to them. I mean, that's a great year. Great start for Jim Moore as head coach for UCLA. They need somebody to turn their program around, and that's yeah. Tulsa beats UCF 33-27. Sorry, somebody was about to come in my room. I had to wave them off. Tulsa beats UCF 33-27 and win the CUSA. UCF went on like a 27-0 run, I think, and Tulsa came back. Tulsa's a pretty good team. They won their first conference championship since 2005. I think they've played in 2 since then, but they fell a little bit short before. I mean, Tulsa's always a good team, a good, I guess you can call them a powerhouse in this Conference USA. They're usually really good. They end up 10-3 in the year. UCF ends up 9-4. That Tulsa offense ended up just being a little bit too much. This game goes into overtime, and turnover for UCF. Late screws them over, and Tulsa wins the Conference USA in a bid to the Liberty Bowl. And my upset of the week did work, and I got it correctly. Baylor beat Oklahoma State 41-34 at home. Baylor ends up both teams end up 7-5 on the year. Lachey Strong had a huge game. You didn't see that long run where he was running. And he was committed to Oregon, and he transferred to Baylor, and he definitely has not exactly DeAnthony Thomas type speed, but it's close to it. And he just went on one of those long runs, and in the middle of the run, he pulled his hamstring, and he finished another 40 yards, just tripping and limping. With guys chasing him, he's still outrunning other guys, and he ends up scoring a touchdown, which is ridiculous, and it was a sick run, and just shows his athletic ability. He'll be at Baylor for a few more years, so they win 41-34 and get the win over Oklahoma State. Upset win. Oklahoma beats TCU 24-17. They had to hold on late. TCU was trying to have a game-winning drive, and I think they got to like the 15-yard line, and they did come around the 4th down. But TCU, good year, first year in the Big 12. I mean, they beat Texas. They've gone through some struggles. Lost their starting running back, which was really talented early on in the season for the year. Lost their starting quarterback, Casey Pahal, to I don't know if he ended up getting suspended for the year, kicked off the team, but they have a freshman quarterback, Trevane Boykin, come in, and he's played very well, not turning the ball over too much. He brings the athletic side of the quarterback into the game. He can still throw really well. He's accurate, but he's played well. I mean, if TCU in the first year in the Big 12 is competing with teams like Oklahoma, they're headed in the right direction as a program. Hopefully, if you're a TCU fan, you hope you can hang on to Gary Patterson for a little bit longer. But I'm not sure if he's going to leave or not. But, I mean, if you're TCU, be glad you had the guy. He led you to a Rose Bowl victory as a non-AQ team. So, but now there are AQ teams, and see how far this can go. I mean, like I said, it was a success in the first year. So, congratulations TCU for a pretty good first year in the Big 12. But either way, congratulations to Oklahoma for winning this game. Won 24-17. They came up big in the end. What did they get? Interception return for touchdown, a punt return, a kick return, something, but it's proved to be too much, and they finished 10-2. And if that not, like I was saying earlier, if that non-AQ team makes the BCS Bowl, Oklahoma is out. Which it might not be fair, but it just is what it is with the BCS system. West Virginia absolutely annihilates Kansas 59-10. Nothing else to be said. Geno Smith did throw for over 40 touchdowns, and which ended up as his total. Over 40 touchdowns. Cincinnati beats Connecticut, improves to 9-3, beats them 34-17. So they won by 2 touchdowns. Connecticut did not get bowl eligible, and they share the Big East championship with Louisville and Rutgers. So congratulations, Cincinnati. 3 out of the last 4 years, they've either won or shared the title of the Big East. So crazy. Boise State outlast Nevada. They survive a late comeback attempt by Nevada. They end up winning 27-21. It'll be interesting to see the voters place Northern Illinois ahead of Boise State. In my opinion, I think they should have taken Northern Illinois in a matchup with Boise State. I think Northern Illinois and Jordan Lynch would end up winning that game, but we don't know. They earn a share of the Mountain West Conference. It's kind of weird how they're all earning shares because they all tied, and it's like 3 or 4 teams I think that they're sharing the title with the Mountain West Conference. But not a bad year for Boise State. Lost just about everybody off that team last year, and they still go 10-2. That shows you how great of a coach that Chris Peterson is. Alabama beat Georgia 32-28. If you want to see my full recap on this game, go watch my recap video of the Georgia-Alabama game. Alabama wins this game 32-28. Wins the SEC championship. Is headed to Miami to play Notre Dame in the BCS National Championship. It was a great game, back and forth. Eddie Lacy, T.J. Yeldon, over 350 yards rushing on the game. Adrian McCarron didn't have to do too much, but came up big on that last touchdown pass to Amari Cooper Long. Really good pass. I've been criticized in his downfield passing throughout the season, and he didn't throw downfield too much. This might have been his only real pass downfield for more than 30 yards or so, and he completed it. So you can't say too much about that. But he wins 32. We win 32-28. Survived the last-second comeback heroics by Aaron Murray in Georgia. Mishap there where they didn't spike the ball and try throwing a fade and tipped the ball and just landed in the wrong guy's hands, and he went down. Nothing you can do about that. They hit him with timeout. So that was a coaching error. Mark Rich should have let them spike the ball, but it is what it is. It's crazy how 6 yards, the 6 yards Georgia didn't get, prevents them from a national championship and sends them to probably the Cotton Bowl. So those 6 yards is worlds of difference, and it shouldn't come down to that. Georgia should still be going to the BCS Bowl. So should Florida, and that's just retarded how the system's like that. Pitt beat South Florida 27-3. I think I saw somebody earlier predict South Florida to win. South Florida's terrible this year. This is Skip Holtz, probably his last game as head coach, and Pitt becomes bowl eligible. I mean, congratulations to Paul Chris and Pitt as a program. I mean, they've definitely improved. I mean, they've competed. They beginning of the year lost to Youngstown State by 2 touchdowns, and they improved to the point where they almost knock off still undefeated Notre Dame. It goes into triple overtime, and they came a little bit short in this game, but they played great ever since. They've been playing really good football, been competing in every single game. Not if they don't win, they're definitely in it, and they are bowl eligible 6-6. Nobody would have thought they would be 6-6 after the way they played in the first few weeks. But they beat South Florida 27-3. South Florida definitely a disappointing season of B.J. Daniels last year at South Florida. They finished 3-9 and 1-6 in the Big East. That's not what you want there in Tampa. Florida State survives a scare and hangs on to beat Georgia Tech 21-15. Looks like Florida State had all the momentum and had no chance of getting beat. They were out on a 21-6 lead in the first half, and they did not score any points in the second half, which is very unrealistic because Florida State has a pretty good offense, and you think against Georgia Tech they'd have no trouble scoring because Georgia Tech, I think 4 more times this season, has allowed 40 or more points in the second half alone, and Florida State didn't score a single point. And Georgia Tech had a chance on a sack and fumble by E.J. Manuel when he should have just at least thrown the ball away so they could got a field goal, made up by 2 possessions or more, or 3 possessions. I'd have made it. Georgia Tech gets the ball, drives down the field, gets 6 points, fails on a 2-point conversion, and they stop Florida State. Florida State punts, Georgia Tech gets the ball back, and ends up throwing an interception on that last drive. They drove in the field and scored. They would have won the game by a point if they'd have converted the extra point, and they'd be going to the Orange Bowl instead of Florida State. But Florida State lucks up a little bit and wins 21-15. I mean, there's no question who the better team was, but Georgia Tech came ready to play, and cards fell the right way, and they just didn't execute when they had to at the very end. I mean, it's kind of expected. You don't expect a triple option team to be able to go down the field against a Florida State defense, which is one of the best in the country, and throw the ball around on them. That's just not expected because that's not what Georgia Tech does. And when you're playing against a team like Florida State, that's not a good matchup for you. And I mean, they played tough, but they came up a little bit short, and they'll still be able to go to a bowl game. I think the NCAA cleared their waiver Because, I mean, you shouldn't not be able to go to a bowl game just because you lose your conference championship game. That's not right. Man, I'm getting exhausted. I need to go to sleep here in a second. But I got 2 more games to go over. Kansas State wins the Big 12 and it's going to the Fiesta Bowl. They beat Texas 42-24. They hung on after a big fourth quarter by an old Colin Klein. Texas was winning 10-7 at halftime. Go out and score 38 points, 35 points in the second half. I mean, it's a big game for Colin Klein. He wanted to prove himself to the country that he's still a really good quarterback and still be going to New York for the Heisman presentation. And they finished the year 11-1. Nobody saw this coming. Great coach team, led by senior linebacker Arthur Brown. Bill Snyder has his team playing great football. I mean, they did have that one mess up against Baylor, but I mean that happens from time to time. I mean, Colin Klein is to throw 3 interceptions in the game. That's not realistic. But I mean, it happens sometimes. Nightmares happen. That's what happened to Kansas State against Baylor. And if it wasn't for that, they'd be going to the national championship. But I mean, you saw how good of a team they are tonight. I mean, they kind of struggled early on, but in the fourth quarter, they come out, run the ball. Colin Klein can throw it through the air too. And Texas's defense was not good. They're not good at tackling. And on the other side, Kansas State does everything right, all the little things right, and that's what Texas is not doing. They have all the talent in the world, but they're not doing the little things like Kansas State is doing. And that's why see a team like Kansas State beating a team like Texas that has so much more talent than them. But Bill Snyder is such a great coach. His team makes tackles. His team doesn't. They play field position. They control the football. Don't turn the ball over. Make big plays when they have to. Execute. They win every play, and that's why they have success. And they'll be going to the Fiesta Bowl. And I think every Kansas State fan, I mean, they're a little bit disappointed they didn't make the national championship. But I mean, the Fiesta Bowl is still pretty big accomplishment for a team like Kansas State, who's kind of been down the last few years. So congratulations to Colin Klein, Bill Snyder, and Kansas State on a really good season. Last but not least, the surprising game of the week, Wisconsin absolutely annihilates Nebraska 70-21. Key funny stat in this game, I guess. Kurt Phillips, or the quarterback for Wisconsin, threw 8 passes in this game. They still scored 70 points. The old black shirts of Nebraska could not stop Monte Ball or James White all day. It was just ridiculous. Granted, I guess you can take out of this for Nebraska. It's a learning experience, definitely, but specifically, that one play by Taylor Martinez was one of the best plays I've ever seen in my life by an individual quarterback. If you didn't see him, he rolled out. You probably can search the highlight on YouTube, but he rolled out. He escaped like 2 or 3 men from the line, rolled out to the outside, juked about 2 or 3 people, ran downfield, got behind his blockers, juked another guy, and ran downfield about 80 yards. I think in total, he ran back about 25 yards before he got back to the line of scrimmage, or started going back forward to go to the line of scrimmage. So, and all in all, for his traveling back and forth and to the side and straight back to the touchdown, it's probably about a 120-yard run for him, backwards and sideways and frontwards. So, I mean, it was an explosive play. Taylor Martinez is still a really good quarterback. I mean, he's explosive. He can score at any given time. But this game was all Wisconsin. I mean, 70 points, that's a really big deal, especially in a Big Ten championship game. I mean, that's unacceptable if you're a head coach. I mean, you beat this team in the regular season. Why are you giving up 70 points to them now? Somebody had something on Nebraska, and they exposed Nebraska definitely in this game. And I guess the more deserving team is going to go to the Rose Bowl. I mean, 5-loss team. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, Wisconsin, don't get me wrong, don't let their record fool you. They're a really, really good football team. Their 5 losses that came on, like 5 losses combined, is about like 15, 16, 17 points, and like 3 of them have been in overtime, and that's unheard of. I mean, they've lost so many close games. They have not been. I don't know if they've been even beat by a whole touchdown this year. Maybe one time or so, but yet they lost 1 game by a touchdown, and that was to Ohio State in overtime, which, I mean, in overtime, if you score a touchdown, I mean, that's kind of just, it is what it is, but I mean, lost to Oregon State by 3, lost to Nebraska by 3. Nebraska had to have a huge comeback in that game. Lost to Michigan State in overtime by 3. lost in overtime to Ohio State, and lost in overtime to Penn State. So this team could very, very easily be undefeated and go into the national championship rather than the Rose Bowl. But I mean, you just take what you got, and I mean, it's still a good year. I mean, you go to the Rose Bowl as a 5-1 team, so be happy where you are. You lucked up. I mean, it's kind of weird how the third best team in their division wins the conference championship. That's kind of weird because, I mean, the Penn State and Ohio State was above them in their division, but that's just how our system is today in college football. So, hope you guys enjoy. Don't know why it took me 20 minutes to talk about like 10 games, but hope you enjoyed. Have a great night, and subscribe to me if you haven't already. Roll Tide, go Sox, and go Titans. See you. Have a great day. I'll see you guys later. See you. Oh yeah, and it's been a fun season doing all my recaps. I'm probably gonna do predictions for all the BCS bowls once they come out tomorrow night. All the matchups. Probably upload like one a day or so. But I guess all in all, this is my last weekly recap video for college football. I'll still be doing them for NFL till the season ends. At the conclusion of the season, I'll do a video recapping the whole entire season, just saying like some disappointment, surprises of the year, talking about different guys, and I have a lot in store for this channel. I mean, it'll be kind of weird in between the gap of college football and baseball season. I'll have to find some stuff to do, but I definitely will. I won't be not uploading. I'll be uploading a lot, and I hope you guys will enjoy it all. So, see you guys next time.